G'day, this is Christine from Gecko Gully Websites. This is a website which I built last week for my friend Lillian. Lillian would like to add buttons on the website so that she can share the content with other people. In other words, when somebody comes to her website and they like what they see, she wants them to be able to click a button and share that information on Facebook or Twitter, that sort of thing. Now, I have got this on my own website, and this is a WordPress website like mine, and I have used a plugin called Shareaholic. Now, I'm going to put a link in the blog post that accompanies this video to another blog post which will teach you how to add a plugin to a WordPress website, but let's just assume that you know how to do that. It's actually Shareaholic is a free plugin, and when you go to the Add Plugins screen, which is under Plugins, Add New, you type in Shareaholic and you'll see this come up. I'm not sure why it's here twice. I have no idea, but I just usually click on the first one because I think they're both the same. But anyway, I've never noticed any difference whether I click on the first or the second one, so I just install the first one. And once it's been installed, I can go to my plugins page and it will say to me, action required, you've installed Shareaholic for WordPress, ready when you are, and I can click on Get Started Now. Or I can go down in my menu and I'll find Shareaholic and I can click on App Manager under that. When I have clicked on that, I get this screen, and this is the first thing that comes up. So let's click the Get Started button and I'll show you how to set this up. Now there's two ways that we can use this particular plugin. The first way is the simplest way, which I'll show you first, and then there's a slightly more complex way, which I'll show you after that. The simple way is to just put share buttons at the top or the bottom of each of the posts and the pages. We can also, in the more advanced way, we can put these links down the left hand side or the right hand side of the pages, but let's just show the simplest way first. Now, Shareaholic does more than just the share buttons. It can also have a related content component, so that at the bottom of a post, if there's a related post, Shareaholic can work out which are the related posts and it can actually display those. Now, Lillian didn't want the related post, or at least she didn't mention the related post to me, so I'm going to assume that she doesn't want this, but if she does want it, I would tick or untick these boxes here, depending on where she wants it, and then I would click on Customize to get them working. But I'm just going to untick these boxes for now because we're not talking about related content, we're talking about share buttons. So let's scroll down here. Here are the share buttons. Now, you can put the share buttons above or below the content on posts, pages, indexes, and categories. Okay, I'm going to put them above the content and not below the content on pages. I'm going to put them above the content and not below the content on the posts. I don't want to put them on index or category pages. Okay, so those are the boxes that I want to tick. Now, above the content I want to customize, so I click on Customize and a pop-up comes up. Let's wait for this to load. Okay, so the first thing we need to choose is we need to choose what is the theme that we want to use. So how do we want it to look? This that we're seeing here is called Classic. Here's a flat square, which is just basically more of a square thing rather than looking right like that. My tongue's all tangled. Doesn't look like a raised box, which is what the classic one does. We can have flat circles like that, or we can have a little thing that pops up when you mouse over it. Okay, so I'm going to choose the classic. Now, of course, Lillian can go back and edit this later if she decides that she likes one of these other ones. Along the top here we've got a heading, and in this case it's Sharing is Caring. Now if you want something different, you can click on here and it'll show all these other ones. So you can have Sharing is Caring with little hearts above it, which is a bit strange, but anyway. You can have Share the Knowledge, Share the Wealth, Share the Love, Share and Enjoy, Sharing is Sexy, or you can just click on the first one, which is no heading. So let's choose one that Lillian might like. Let's choose this one, Share and Enjoy. Okay, so that's how that looks. Now, you can choose a number of buttons. So we've got Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, email, and more. If you don't want to show the more options button, you can untick this and that will get rid of that. Okay, but for now, just let's leave that on. Okay. The next thing we can choose is whether this is going to be horizontal or vertical. I'm going to choose horizontal. The other alternative is vertical. Sorry, I made a mistake there. We can choose whether it's going to be sitting by itself or whether it's going to be surrounded by text. So the block, which is the first one, is sitting by itself, and then the second one, wrapped, is surrounded by text. Let's just leave it as this. The next one is the horizontal or the vertical. We'll leave it as horizontal. We can choose the size, so we can choose what we can see, which is called normal. We can click on mini, which is little tiny ones, or we can choose rectangles, which looks like this. I'm just going to go for the standard here. Now, the next thing we can choose is to have a counter on here if we want to. What that is once people start sharing these things, we can actually have the numbers of shares being shown. Now, I'm going to show you my website. This is a post that I did on my website a little while ago. And I'm not sure whether you can see it on the video or not, but I've had 4 shares on Twitter, 294 on Facebook, and 2 shares on Google+. So that's why those numbers are coming up there. I haven't had any on Pinterest, none that I'm aware of on email, and that I don't know whether it'll show if there's more in the more options, but it looks like there hasn't been any under the more options. Let me just click on that and show you what you get if you click on more options. Basically here it'll allow you to choose any of these other sharing services. Okay, so we'll close that. But and if we want to share it on Twitter, for example, we just click on that and it'll allow you to put a message on it and tweet it. Now go back to this again. So we can leave the numbers off, or we can put it so that it's a number along the top. We can put it so it's a number on the side like this, or we can put it like I did on my own website, which is a little badge at the top. Let's just leave the counter off for now. I'll just go with all the defaults, because if Lillian wants to go back and change this, she can. Now the alignment is left or center or right. Now let me just have a look at her website. I'm just going to click on one of her posts so that I can just get an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, I'm just looking at this. Let's try center for Lillian's site and see how it looks. So we'll go center alignment. Okay. Now the last thing we can do, I'll just scroll down a bit here. Last thing we can do is we can add services to this, or we can take services off. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this as the defaults. Lillian did say that she doesn't use Twitter, so she didn't want Twitter on there, but I'm thinking that perhaps when she said that, she might have been meaning that she doesn't use Twitter herself. But I'm just going to leave it here, and I'm going to let her take it off if she wants to take it off, because I'm sorry to be rude about this, Lillian, but it doesn't really matter what you use. What matters is what your audience uses. So for example, if you know that your website is visited by a lot of people who use LinkedIn, you might decide that you want to add LinkedIn to it. So if we click on LinkedIn, it'll add the LinkedIn one to it. Hover over it and click on the X, and that gets rid of LinkedIn. So Lillian, if you do want to get rid of the Twitter one, you hover over there and you click on the X and the Twitter will go away. Okay, so let's click on Save Settings. And what I've done there is I have set up the settings for the buttons that are going to appear at the top of the posts. So the next thing I need to do is to go down here again. So I've customized the above the posts. The next thing I need to do is the ones that are going to appear at the top of the pages. So we'll click on Customize for there. And we'll set it all up again. So just wait for this to load. And I went with Share and Enjoy. I went default all the way down, except I clicked on center for there. Okay, pretty sure that's what I did. If that's not what I did, then Lillian, if you want to make them look the same, then you can. So let's click Save Settings. And we've got settings successfully saved. So let's go back to her website, and I just hit refresh on this, so you can see now that it's got Share and Enjoy with all these nice share buttons at the top. Let's go back to the home page and see what looks different on there. And you can see here that nothing looks different on the home page, and that's because I didn't set anything up for the index page. Let's just go and have a look at the services page. And you can see on the services page it's got the share and enjoy. So if Lillian wants this to appear on the home page, then that is called index. So therefore she would need to go back and tick that index and say above. Of course you can say above and below if she wants to. So like if we go down to the bottom here, she can have it appear at the bottom as well. She can also have it appear on her category pages, which is these category pages here. So she could have them appear on there as well if she wants to. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was the slightly more advanced way of using this. Now, to do that, what we can do is if I go over here, see it down the left hand side of my website, I've got these buttons here, and when I scroll down they stay in place. I'll show you how to do that, and I'll also show you how, if you want to, you can have a thing at the top of the page, a banner at the top of the page, which tells people that you might be storing cookies on your website. That's really useful if you live in EU. Apparently there's some law there that you have to notify people if you may be saving cookies there. So let's go back to, where were we, App Manager, and to do that we need to sign up for Shareaholic, which is free to do. I've already signed up, and so I'm going to click on login, but if you haven't signed up, then you click on sign up free, and then you need to give yourself a username and password. So I'm going to go here and log in. Click login. You can also sign up with Facebook and Twitter apparently. I did it in the olden days before that was available, so I've signed up with a username and password. Okay, so once you've signed in, you get sent back to here, and you can tell you've signed in because you've got this thing up here, and then you can go to configure additional features. And the first thing it's going to do is, would you like to link this website to a Shareaholic account? So my website is called Research by Lily, and my Shareaholic account is Christine_8. So I just go link now. You can link it later if you want to, but it's a good idea to link it. Okay, so this is the first screen that we get. I'm going to do verify the website. If you need to know why that is, you can click on why verify my website, and it'll be able to tell you why to verify. So it just says yes, okay, good, that's done. Next, we can have a look and see what else we want to change in here. So the platform is WordPress. The content category, in her case, would be family, and it's English. Is that the only English available? English, yes. Save settings. And then once that is done, it'll allow us to add a few more things to it. So the first thing I want to add to this is the floated share buttons, which is this thing down the left hand side here. So I'm going to turn that on. Another thing I want to turn on is the cookie consent banner. I may just turn this off afterwards, but at this stage let's turn it on to show you how to do that. So the floated share buttons, the settings, I can edit the settings. And it's going to ask me, well, what do you want them to look like? So let's wait for this to load. So at the moment it looks like this, similar to the screen that we saw within the WordPress plugin itself. We can have big ones or small ones. Let's make them big. Let's leave the counter off. We can turn it on if we want to. Let's align them to the left, and we'll have the more options button, and we'll get it to start 15% from the top. So you can have it starting right at the top if you want to, but let's leave it at that. So let's save settings. And then it comes back to here, so let's set up the cookie consent banner. And it says this website uses cookies. That's the message that's going to be displayed. Privacy policy location is privacy, is her website /privacy. I don't think she's got a privacy page, but let's present it to EU visitors. So that would only be people who come from European countries are actually going to see this, although sometimes it shows it to everybody, but anyway. And then we can click Save Settings. So I'm going to do that, but then I'm just going to turn it off because I don't really think Lillian wants this. But Lillian, if you do want it, then let me know and I can turn this on for you, or you can do this yourself through this. So let's disable that by clicking on here. So we've turned that off again. And then if we want to, we can start changing some of the details of the share stuff that's in there. And that's it, it's all done. So let's go back and have another look at her website. So I'll just hit refresh over here. And here we've got the share buttons appearing down the left hand side as well as at the top. So let's just go back to her home page. And here on the home page we've got this appearing down the left hand side, and as you can see as we scroll down, that stays there in place. That's also going to appear on the mobile version of the website, because this is actually a responsive website, so those things can be shared. Now let me just show you how that looks. If I click on Facebook, it will, and I'm already logged into Facebook. You have to actually be logged into one of these things for it to work. So it's logged into Facebook, and it's saying to me, where do you want to share it? Well, yes, I'll share it on my own timeline. Say something about it. This is a website I built for Lillian last week. Okay, and then I can click share link. Thanks for sharing. Close. Now you can modify that box that comes up, that thanks for sharing box. That's all within that app manager screen. That's about it. At this stage I want to go on and show you how to do something which somebody else asked me to do. So if that answers all your questions, that's all you need to watch. But the thing that somebody else was interested in was how to set up a page that has a whole lot of these link sharing things on it. So this part of the video I'm going to show you how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video and I'm going to set that up, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I did it. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. There's something else I wanted to say. If you decide that you don't want the sharing buttons to appear on some pages, for example, you might have a shopping cart website and there will be pages in your shopping cart like the checkout and so forth where you don't want to show those, what you can do is you can actually edit the page, and this is one of the posts within her website, and down in the options when you're editing a page or a post or something, you'll find a Shareaholic box, and so you can actually tick on hide shared buttons. If you're using related contents and these other things, you can tick those to hide them as well. Okay, if you're doing the related content, you can actually exclude a page from related content, or you can hide the related content that is actually on that particular page. But if we wanted to hide the share buttons, we just tick that. If you don't see the Shareaholic box appearing, go up to the top of the page and click on Screen Options and tick this Shareaholic box here. Okay, so now I'm going to pause the video and make another little bit about how to do something a bit different, about how to make a page with a whole lot of links in it. Okay, so what we want to aim to do here is create a page which has a whole lot of link buttons and nothing else on it. So what we'll do is I'm going to go to here, I'm going to click Customize on the page, above the above page, and I want to go down to where the services are, and I want to tick lots of these things. So I'm going to go Delicious, Reddit, LinkedIn, Google Bookmarks. So don't worry, Lillian, I'm going to change all this back later on. Let's click on a whole lot of these things. Is there a select all button? No, there's not. So we'll click on a whole lot of these things that we want to click on. So we've got lots of them. Okay, you get the idea. You can click on all of these. Now, once I've done that, see down here we've got Shareaholic, app equals share buttons, ID equals, and then a number. Let's highlight that. I'm going to copy it, so I've just held down the control button on my keypad and hit on my keyboard and hit the C button. It's Command C if you're on a Mac and Control C if you're on a PC. Now I'll go over here and where it says add new page, so I'm adding a new page, I'm creating a page called link buttons. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do Control V and paste those share buttons in there. Okay, now just to save people being confused, I'm going to hide the share buttons on this particular page. So in other words, the content of the page will be the share buttons, but it won't automatically add them again. And let's click publish. Now remember that I didn't hit save over here, so I haven't actually saved all of these buttons, so we'll only see the ones that were there before. But let's go back to here, and hopefully this is saved. Okay, so the page is published, so I'm going to view page. I'll open it in a new tab. Okay, and here we can see it. So this is the buttons that are going to appear on this particular page. Remember that I didn't hit the save over here, so I haven't saved all of this, but if I was to hit save, all of these would appear at the top of every page. Now, what I would then do is I would then need to go and turn it off on other pages. So in the case of the person who asked me about this, he didn't want all the share buttons to appear on every page. He just wanted to have one page with all the share buttons on it. So what he would need to do is to go and remove it, like tick that hide button on all the other pages. Or you can do, if you don't have any posts on your website, like if it's only pages, you could actually use the buttons for posts instead, and then the options for posts instead, and then you could just click this thing down here, this short code, and put the short code from the posts onto a special page. If this is confusing, let me know and I can explain it again, but basically that is how you could set up a page on a website that only has share buttons on it. Now, don't worry, Lillian, I'm going to delete that page now. Okay, so I hope this helps, and get back to me and let me know if you've got any questions. If you are one of my clients and you would like this installed on your website, if it's not there already, let me know and I will do it for you. Okay, bye.